Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everybody to another Coach's Corner. This week we have our favorite series number 3, episode number 3 with Grillin' with James. Some of you may know who James is. He's one of our IrisVision coaches. So I'm sure that some of you have had coaching sessions by James. Those of you who have IrisVision Live, and those of you who don't have it yet, you might get James as your coach. So James, tell us what we have planned for today.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So what I have here is a very expensive brisket. All right. I love smoking meat. I've been a pit master.
Is that vegetarian or vegan?
What's that?
Is that vegetarian or vegan?
I don't even know those words. It's a whole different language. No, this is pure beef. This is brisket. Became very popular. It used to be a cheap piece of meat because it was so hard to cook. People thought you could just put it on like a steak, cut pieces of it. It's very tough, but if you slow render it, smoke it at a slow, 220, 225, you can't beat the taste. So now that everybody's getting into the fast lane and learning how to smoke meat and all these pressure cookers and stuff like that, they can chop it up and get pretty close same results without the flavor. It's become a very expensive piece of meat. So this is actually a prime too. It's one of the best ones. I took it out so that I can demonstrate how to trim it. And then on the next one, hopefully, Myrna, I'll do a pre-recorded of how I put it on the smoker, how I check it with the IrisVision. I've talked to a lot of my clients about how I use it for smoking meat, checking their thermometers and stuff. Totally safe because you're not touching anything hot. It actually helps. Okay. It actually helps you to safely look at the temperatures and stuff like that.
That's
okay.
Cool.
And I'll demonstrate that later. We'll do a pre-recorded and have it on there. And then we'll have my favorite part, my very favorite part, the finished product.
Yes, the finished product. Well, I can't wait for you to smoke some kind of vegetable for me or something. Watermelon, I don't know, something.
No, I do veggies. I've smoked a watermelon. I do an awesome pineapple. I got a recipe with cinnamon and stuff like that for pineapple.
All right.
Cabbage, stuff like that. So veggies are really good on the smoker also. Okay. I just joke around.
I'm requesting a Grillin' with James veggie style. That's
you
what
got
I'm requesting.
You got it. I'll put a big piece of meat on this side and veggies on that side.
Boom.
How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. So basically the brisket, you got a point, the fat part, and then you got the flat. Okay. I when I started using the IrisVision to trim, I wore Kevlar gloves to be safe, and then I wore gloves on, plastic rubber gloves. I washed my hands thoroughly, so this isn't going to anybody else but me and my family. So I like to do it barehanded. But in the beginning,
nice.
I did start with Kevlar gloves. Very important. Okay. Very safety
because
first.
You have to get used to actually wearing the device and the fact that there's no depth perception, right?
Correct.
So you have to practice that hand-eye coordination.
Yep. You definitely have to. It does help you to see better, so you're back to seeing. But like Myrna said, depth perception, you can't tell how far you cut with the knife. So I'll go over some safety stuff, some ways that I do it. Okay. And then we can also go over, I don't know. I would say at your safety level, whenever you feel ready, I would practice without actually carving. Just start touching like we do in coaching, right? You do your close, you do your intermediate. This you're only going to use close because it's less than 5 feet away. Okay, scene with bubble's a good one. I go back and forth from scene with bubble to reading inverted. Reading inverted highlights the fat. Okay, it's a little trick that I learned. It'll actually make the fat come off the red meat. Okay, so I can see it better. And then you can switch back to scene. A lot of times I just leave it here. I'm so used to it. That's where I'm at now. Okay. Here we go. Piece falling out. Don't worry, I've cleaned my hands and everything I touch later. So the brisket is really fat, right? You have fat points, stuff you don't need on it. The important thing to do is you could take off or leave as much fat as you want. And this thing's heavy. So getting started, as I always do, I put my knives in order. The way I like to do it, these are all very sharp too. I put my smallest one to biggest, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, and you should too. So I can come, I use 4 different knives. It's very important. You can do it by feel. I can see them. A lot of times I'll just start off with my little one. Okay, I'll come in and just take a pinch, start cutting. See how I move my fingers away? I was looking at you, see that? But just start chipping away, okay? Start chipping away. I'll just put it on the meat and then I'll go bigger. And then as I get used to it, bigger knives are better. They're better for me. I can control them better, but every once in a while you need detail, okay, with the smaller knife. Okay, and what I'm trying to do, the fat on the flat, you want to leave about a 1/4 inch. I leave about a 1/4 inch because this is the leaner part of the meat. For those of you who like lean, this is the leaner part of the meat. So you want to leave some fat. By the time I'm done with this, it does take me a little longer than used to because I'm legally blind, right? But a lot of times I'll just till I get tired. It could take me half an hour to an hour to trim a brisket. Sometimes I do multiple briskets if I'm cooking for different people in the family, right? For bigger parties and stuff like that, bigger crowds. So I could be here all night and I just turn on the music and go to town, just trimming away. It does take me a little longer. And don't forget, take your time. Where you have an excuse, you're legally blind, you know, you're using a device. I just trying to come to you and say, you know, don't give up. Like Myrna got me a shirt. I lost my sight, not my vision, you know? So it works very well. That works. Take your time is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so then I'll come, see how my hand's over here bracing, and then I'll do a slit, and then I'll come, and I'll start taking chunks of the fat out. Okay, really easy. You can do it. And if you take some meat, what I do, a lot of people ask, what do you do with the fat? I like to render it. I like to make beef talon. That's kind of like lard, you know, and then I can cook. Myrna knows I cook everything and stuff like that. Bacon grease, one of my favorites. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is get a 1/4 inch, and then I'll take most of the fat. This point is full of fat. It's the fatty. That's my favorite part. The point is full of fat, so I'll take off almost all the fat. And what I want to do is make it aerodynamic somewhat. I know it doesn't have to be like Speed Racer, but this side will go in my smoker, depending on what smoker. So if I'm using my pellet smoker, Traeger, I got a 12-year-old Traeger. And then I have some barrel smokers, offset smokers. So depending, I'll leave fat, how much fat. So the smoke on the Traeger comes from this end. So smoke rolls. So it's real important. I want it sleek this way. I know people say, does it really matter? Yeah, it does. After years of experience, it does. Now, when I use my barrel from the bottom, right, the smoke's riding, it's a vortex. It comes up and through the smoker. Then I'll put the fat side down, and I know that I got to leave more fat to protect the meat. Okay, so either way you do it, getting into smoking, I mean, there's all kinds of videos on YouTube how to smoke. I've been doing it for years. I got lucky and learned off a pit master in Texas, so nice. I got really lucky.
What's your favorite pellet? What's your favorite pellet to use?
I like a blend. I get competition blend. It has hickory, it has a little bit of cherry, it has a little bit of apple. Yeah, so that also depends too. Sometimes if I'm doing like pork, I want more sweetness. I want more cherry and apples. I want more of the sweet wood. For this, I want more hickory, and my favorite wood for the barrel smokers, I really like white oak. White oak and hickory. You can't beat the flavor. So I go to Phoenix and grab some wood chunks. Me and my wife, Paul Bunyan's. There's several places. But I'll put those in with competition charcoal. And when I say competition charcoal, it really doesn't matter what charcoal you get, but I can really tell the flavors. They pop out. If I use cheap charcoal, I can taste it. Maybe nobody else can, but I can. So be real picky.
Professional.
Yeah, that's what they say. Kind of wish I could go back to getting the cheap stuff, you know. But I'm past that point now. I taste everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we can get into rubs later. So I'll just go through and trim away. You never want your fingers close like this. I used to pull and trim, you know, right in front. With my Kevlar gloves, I was hitting them and stuff like that. So you want to try to just stabilize and learn to use your knives different, okay? Start peeling. And just take as much as you can. See, I take a little bit of meat and that tells me, okay, now I can come over here. It's okay to spot it as long as you have that fat to protect it. So I'll be here for a while, probably for about 30 minutes on this one, but I'll be chipping away at it until I get 1/4 inch or so on the flat, okay? You want to leave some protection on this. See how thin it is? This is the lean meat. And when you get a choice, like you go to a barbecue restaurant, they'll ask you, you want lean or fat? I always go for this side. It tastes a lot better to me, but they're both good. I know Myrna would go for this, the more lean, but me, I'd be like, give me a piece of that fat. So just watch your fingers, pay attention, zoom in. Zoom's your best friend, right?
Yeah, zoom is good, but remember, the higher you zoom, the less field of view you get, and that depth perception is a little more challenging.
Good point. So when I say zoom's your best friend right now, I'm at about 2.4 because this is considered a close. Okay, this is considered a close, right? I'm 1 to 5 feet away. Within 1 to 5 feet, you're close. So if you go any higher, of course, you know, you're going to see pixelated. That's what we coach. You want to practice close, intermediate, and then far distancing outside, right?
Right.
So Myrna's exactly right. If I zoom in too much, I'll probably see this, nothing around here, and I'm going to be cutting, following my knife like this. I'm at about good comfortable level, you know, 2.4 or so, probably even 1.9 at times. And I go in and out. I can still see, I can pretty much see the whole brisket. Okay.
Nice.
So make some cuts too. Just go around, get comfortable with the knife. I used to do that. You can't hurt the brisket with all this fat. It has a serious fat cap. That way you're warmed up. So when you flip it over, you can get more into detail. So let me show you the other side. So if I flip it over, big old piece, this is like a 14-pound brisket, prime.
Woohoo, yeah. You're gonna feast.
Yeah, so you can tell this is more of the lean side, right? Less fat, the fat cap on the other side. So this side's going to be more detail. I'll really take my time on this side and I'll make it aerodynamic. I'll take off the silver skin, little bits of silver skin. The extra fat like this, it's okay to leave on. That's flavor. It's going to render and go into the meat. That's where you get your flavor. Okay, I know everybody's afraid of fat. Don't be. It's good. Now, I'm not a doctor and nutritionist, so let's make that clear. So
right.
Take it with a grain of salt. But you want to go and just make some trim. Okay, all this stuff on the outside, cut. Okay, and then I have a bowl over here. Later, I'll separate the good fat from the bad fat. Okay, the good fat is the softer fat. The bad fat is the hard fat. It won't render. You really can't do anything with it. Okay, so later I'll go and do that. You don't have to do everything. Take your time. Have fun with it. All right.
Awesome. Looking good.
Yeah. So you can get used to, I wouldn't suggest going and getting an expensive brisket or anything like that and going right into it with your best knives. These are pretty sharp. They're very sharp. I would practice, get to where you feel comfortable. Okay. This side, I don't want to go and scar up. Okay. I really don't, because this is expensive meat. You want to go and trim around. So practice on the fat side if you're going to do this. Get used to your knives, okay? And I don't know if you are going to do it, but I love doing it. All right, so now I'll go to a bigger knife, my next knife, okay? See how my hand's well far away? Come in. Once I get the peeling up, you'll see me go like that, right? Once I got it notched, I can come over here, grab, pull, trim. Now remember, the goggles, our headset, IrisVision, it takes time. That's why we practice as coaches. We tell you 20 minutes a day. I've been practicing. When I first got mine, I practiced regular stuff. I didn't get on trimming brisket again till, gosh, after about 2 months when I felt comfortable enough to pick up a knife. And I started on little tri-tips and stuff like that. So take your time. Be safe, okay? What I'm demonstrating is not for everybody. Right, Myrna?
That's right. That's right.
You'll get better and better at it.
Exactly as James is emphasizing, practice, 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 because that's what's going to help you get used to seeing with your device on. That's what's going to help you get acclimated to the lack of depth perception. you're going to adjust, but you have to practice, and it takes time and patience.
Sure does. And then all this extra meat, you just trim off because it's going to burn in the smoker anyway, okay? So I take off anything. I want it nice and rounded. How are we doing on time, Myrna?
We're doing great. You're doing
All
great.
right. Good. Good. Wait till we put this thing in the smoker.
Nice.
All right. Switch modes. Back to scene. I went from straight inverted. I took off the other one so I can go straight too.
Sure. Oh, and that's
All right.
that's a really good point there, James. You know, you could customize your IrisVision that way, since there's so many modes. There's about
Yep.
14 modes. You can, like James just did, he disabled all the other modes so that he can work with the 2 that he needs to do this task and just bounce back and forth easily. Very cool.
And they don't delete. A lot of people are like, I don't want to shut them off. They won't delete. You just go into, like we show you, go into configuration and turn them back on.
Right. And we can walk you through that. One of your coaches or anyone in customer support can help you with that as well.
Yep. So I'll work on this. Okay, I'll get all this fat down. I'll try to get it down to about 1/4 inch. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exact. It does not have to be exact. I want to go to town, but I don't want to mislead people and think, oh, I can do that. James did it. All righty. And then always keep your knives handy. I got paper towels here, able to, you know, slippery and stuff like that. That's why I have Hessler's better brand of knives. These are actually good too, but these are sharper. These are German made, but they're kind of slippery, right? The handle. So keep that in mind too. These are expensive. These are nice knives too. Nice. But grip is important, especially when you're low vision, right? Slipping stuff like that. Well, anytime the knife training that I've been taught. I don't know. I'm just giving some of my tips. Yeah, no, those are great tips. That's for sure. And those are good tips in general. You know, with your vision, not just as a partially sighted person, you want to be aware of what type of tools you're using in the kitchen, for sure. Definitely. Sam does a lot of that. I've learned a lot off him too. Shout out to Sam. Whoop, whoop. Sam. And then easiest knife sharpener you can get, right? Not even looking, look. And there went my earbud. All right. So you guys want to stick with me and trim this whole thing up? How much longer do you think it'll take? It's going to take me a little while. It's still, I leave it a little frozen because it's easier to trim. Okay. But I should have thought it out. I'm going to let it thaw out. I can nib at it. I'll get it done. It'll be done probably in 30 minutes. Okay. So, but we don't have 30 minutes. I just wanted to get the basics with you guys, go over it. Pretty easy, right? Great. You think you could do it, Myrna? I'm gonna have you come over again. So. Yeah, I will. I'm definitely ready to give it a shot. I don't like touching raw meat, but I'll do it. I'll do it. Just watch your hands. You can show me how to trim a pineapple. We could do that. Yeah. I got a special cutter. So once I start getting into the flat, now there is a dorsal over here, a big fat point I was going to cut out. I'll show you that on the next video. It's a big old fat hard piece of meat, and that does nothing. So I usually just chunk it out a little bit. You don't want to take too much off because it does hold the muscle and the whole thing will drop. Okay, I know a lot of you guys out there that do briskets, you know what I'm talking about. For those who don't, who are getting started, take as much out as you want. You can sit here all day and take little, or when you get tired, call it a day. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything by leaving the fat. The better you get, the more you know to trim, where to leave it and stuff like that, depending on your smoker. All right. Nice. Awesome. So I just want to do a basic. I'm getting ready to go to town on this. And when I go to town, I just turn the music on and really pay attention. I just want to do a little demo. Hope you guys got something out of this. And yeah, can I put them on now, Myrna? Yes, please do. All right, here we go. James is now wearing our newest IrisVision headset called IrisVision. I will be in 1 second. Now, go for it, Myrna. Yeah, now he's got the IrisVision Inspire headset on. And
we're really excited about this new unit. It's a lighter model, and it's a little more simplified. And James, how does it work? Just real quick.
Very easy, very easy. So we have buttons at the bottom. There's 4 buttons. You have L1, L2, R3, R4, something like that. I'm still getting used to it. I wanted to do the demo with this, but I'm still getting used to it myself. So, but zooming in, you hit the 4 button. It's really easy, really easy. So you got button functions that they're going to go over. I just like the feel of it. That looks pretty cool, huh?
Very cool. And then you just tether the phone to it. There's a cord. James, if you could show us the cord and the phone. And that's
tether,
how.
Nice little case. I can put it around my neck. Now I'm gonna have to wipe all this down because I have meat. But anyway, really nice, really nice.
Yes. Now James is not using this to carve the brisket because he's not ready to do that yet with this device. So that's why we used our IrisVision Live for the demonstration. But if you want to know more about our IrisVision Inspire headset, please tune into our webinar that's coming up on September 29th. It's going to be all about Inspire. We're going to go into detail. You'll be able to ask questions about the new product. If you have any comments about it, for sure, we're going to have that webinar on September 29th, and you'll be able to register for it starting on Monday. We're going to start a marketing campaign for it on Monday. So we're looking forward to that. Again, if you have any interest in learning more about Inspire, join us September 29th at 10 a.m. You can register starting on Monday. All right, but thank you so much, James. That was awesome. And we're looking forward to our next Grillin' with James episode coming up sometime, maybe in October, huh?
Very soon. And you'll see this thing fully smoked and carved into, and you get to watch me enjoy it, I guess.
Nice. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to today's Coach's Corner, Grillin' with James. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, James. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.